Okay, so we're going to look at question 2 of the higher tier exam. And the question is, what do you learn about Abdul from reading the whole passage? This is actually the simplest question you've got, really, because what do you learn is an example of inference. So if we just highlight the keywords in the question, the what is basically inference. The fact that it is 10 marks tells you you're not going to answer it straight away. So even though you could answer that in a couple of sentences, you're expected to sustain that for probably 2/3 of a page, if not more. And of course the other great thing there is it's the whole passage. So they're going to be testing whether or not you can retrieve information from the whole text. In question 1, we mainly focused on the opening paragraph and pieces of the text up to line 24. You can utilise all the information you took from that exactly the same if you want. For example, you might pick out Abdul, the household earner, was the one who had to flee. You learn straight away, therefore, that he's the main earner of the house. That itself, of course, is low band 2, because you're making a simple inference. If you're wanting to get into band 3, where you are well developed and picking up on subtle points, you'd want to look at that phrase household earner, and you'd want to think, okay, what do I therefore know about his personality? What do I know about him? So it'd be a little bit more in depth, not just that he earns money, but that he is responsible for other people. He's not afraid to take on the care of his family. We know that his dad is sick, as it says there. So the fact that Abdul has stepped up and become the man of the house. All right, what else can we know? He was 16 years old, or maybe 19. His parents were hopeless with dates. Do they really care about him? Do they know when he was born? Okay, we learn he's a coward. Let's keep scanning down. He'd been buying and selling the recyclers, things that rich people threw away. Okay, so that's interesting. It's probably more interesting to say for nearly all the waking hours he could remember, meaning that he's been doing something for so long that it's become sort of automatic to him. He grasped the need to disappear, so he understands the situation he's in. The only place he could think to hide was in the garbage, showing he has a limited imagination, he has a limited experience of the places he's grown up in. And then if we scan down, there's loads of things here. He didn't like the moon, full, stupid and bright, illuminating a dusty open lot in front of his home. Okay, that can tell us a few things. That could tell us about his fear, the fact that he is worried about being seen. What else? Let's scan down here. It was a safe moment as Abdul was going to get. He bolted for the trash shed and closed the door behind him. Right, what do we learn there? He bolted for the trash shed. We learn about where he's going and how he did it. Focus on the word bolted. Look at where he's gone. He's frantic with rats and yet relieving. He doesn't care about the world around him, he just wants to avoid trouble, as it says here. What else does it say? Abdul and his neighbours were squatting on land belonging to the airport's authority. Everything around us is roses, and we're the muck in between. They're not wanted, they're discarded. Okay, there's loads. For Abdul, words came stiff and slow. The way I would do this, and you can see I've done that very, very quickly, I'm not reading everything in the text. If you're doing that in an exam, you'd obviously want to spend quite a few minutes scanning that through and finding information. There's enough there that I've found now to be able to answer the question. Of course, you're looking for things that start with Abdul and with he, because that's your place you're going to focus on when you're actually looking down quickly. You've got the capital letters to focus on, like Abdul, he. Abdul, he, right, all the time, and you can find sort of useful information in there. Okay, how do you write it? Right, well, let's focus on something we didn't write about last time. How about he bolted for the trash shed and closed the door behind him? So if we were writing about this, obviously what we need to say is what we learn about Abdul. That's the question. What do you learn about Abdul? So we're going to write an answer which introduces a simple point and a simple quote, and then develops more interesting inference behind it. So we learn that, and we're just going to put the quote straight into it this time. He bolted for the trash shed. There's my quote. And notice I'm not mucking around with an extra inference there. All we're going to do is then hopefully give one or more inferences based on that, showing that he liked to seek out refuge. Any place he was not bothered about the type of place it was. Okay, what else could we find from that? I said focus on the word bolted. So the word bolted implies he is, or you could say scared, worried, panicking, anything. Let's say scared. And he's probably being scared of being seen, isn't he? He's scared about being seen by others. So he is moving quickly. So all the time, we're really just showing our understanding of the words in the text, and obviously, therefore, learning something about Abdul. If we've got anything really interesting to say, then we can say that. So let's go back down to the one later on here. And obviously, in the 20 minutes you have on this question, you're wanting to do as many of those as you can, fill up that side of space. Let's assume we're down here now. Let's go for Abdul, words came stiff and slow, which is down the bottom of the text down here. You're wanting like 4 or 5 of these paragraphs, I would say. Again, we'll just go, we learn that. For Abdul. I think its words came stiff and slow. What does that show about the style of talking he has? What does it show about whether he wants to talk? Easy quote, really. Notice I'm not picking long quotes, I'm picking nice short things that can go straight into my sentence. It saves me time. Showing he is not gifted with brilliant speech, and he finds talking to others quite difficult. This could also show us, I suppose, something about his intelligence, if we wanted to put that. A number of people in the exam pointed out he's actually more intelligent than he first appears. We could say that he likes repetitive things, because he excelled in the sorting. It actually says that straight afterwards. Look, where he excelled was in the sorting. So we could put, although he liked simple, repetitive tasks like sorting, he maybe was not so keen on tasks which required him to think carefully. Now, anything like that is going to be a minimum of band 2. Right, the minute you start going above and more detailed, like I've done in the last sentence there, although he liked simple repetitive tasks like sorting, he's not seeking a task required to think of it specific. That's going to be in that band 3 territory. Alright? If you just left it with he bolted for the trash shed, showing that he liked to keep on his own, that's going to be band 2. If you put bolted suggests he runs, which means he's often scared, that could be band 2. You know, you've got to be careful to make sure that you give enough detail in your answer and back it up enough to be able to get all the marks that you deserve, right? So I've got to space that. So let's just have a look at one and do one more, and then we'll see what else we can say. Right, at the top of this page, it says avoid trouble. This was the operating principle of Abdul Hakim Hussain. The fact that it's his operating principle suggests that there's something that's very important to him and he's deliberately considered it, doesn't it? She could put, if you were band 2, you might put something like he liked avoiding trouble because it meant that he was able to carry on with his life. If we put something like the writer says, notice it's the same simple start sentences each time. Avoid trouble. And claims it is his operating principle. It shows he has made a conscious decision to be sensible and he has strong moral views. If we wanted to there, you could talk about the fact that it's in italics, so it's emphasising it. Operating principle makes him sound like a bit of a machine. He's got a sweaty forehead, which shows he gets panicked. You know, there's loads and loads and loads of things that you want to say, and I've done just 3 examples really there. You're wanting to take a selection. You can see the things we found to start with. You can't write about all of those things, right? So you've got to pick the things that you can write about most and make sure they go in enough detail. In this question, it's 10 marks, okay? You have 1 hour on that section, you have 50 marks available, and it's probably going to take you 10 minutes to read through the text. So if you work that out, it's roughly 1 mark every 2 minutes. So you're looking realistically at 20 minutes on that. At a line a minute, that should be about a page for answer. Anything from 2/3 to a page. As long as you are giving detail and you are being interesting and you are focusing on a range of ideas, okay, a comprehensive range of ideas. If you just do 2 or 3, you're really risking not being in band 3. As long as you get more than that, you're going to be challenging for band 3 marks and hopefully getting as, anything from 7 to 10 in that one.